and welcome to Fraprops and Gaming. In this video we're going to be creating a direwolf head from Game of Thrones. It's going to be constructed quite simply using cardstock, using a program called Pepakura Designer. So what you'll see on the screen at the moment is just a complete example of what we're going to be making. Now the easiest way to start this is to get the file, so go to Google and all you need to do is type in start direwolf Pepakura. And when any Pepakura file you want to make, just type in what you want, followed by the word Pepakura, and if there's a template available, you should be able to find something quite easily. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm just using the first result here, which takes us through to a DeviantArt page. And if you scroll down through this one here, you'll actually see that you can actually just download the pattern for free by clicking that there. That will just take you to a Google Drive, where you can just save the file from that. Right, now they do recommend that you actually use a coloured cardstock as opposed to a plain paper for creating this. We're not going to do that. We're just going to use a white basic cardstock and paint it afterwards. Alright, so once you've got the file saved, you will need a program called Pepakura Designer. Now that's made by a company called Tamasoft. You can just visit their website or just Google Tamasoft and you'll get it. Be able to just download it for free here. Alright, now there is a paid updated version, and the main difference between the free version and the paid version is the ability to save any changes you make to files. The free version does not allow you to save changes, but that's okay for what we're doing. Alright, so once you've got that on your machine, just open up the file in your Pepakura Designer, and what you'll see is a 3D image similar to this here. Now you'll notice that the teeth are separate to the actual head, and that's not a problem. Okay, that will be because the way that they're created in here is that all the additional sort of joints and things to do it would have been far too complicated to make a build like this. There are some files that are very, very complicated, very intricate, and some of them can actually be quite fun to make. But we're going for this one here because it's a relatively simple build. Alright, now with using Pepakura Designer, you actually have the two panes. On the left, you've got pretty much your 3D model viewing pane. On the right, you've got pretty much your paper unfolded side. You can choose to just view one or the other. You can actually resize them by dragging the border side to side. And you can zoom in just using your scroll wheel. You can zoom in on either one depending on where your cursor is located. Alright, now the first thing we need to do is just check the actual paper size this is formatted for. So you go up here to Settings, Print and Paper Settings. Now I'm in Australia and I'll be printing on A4, so I've selected A4 here already. Now the file that I've downloaded was previously formatted for letter. So I did go through and have to change that. Alright, so once you've done that, just go OK. Now you do have an option too to actually resize this if you like. Now if you want to do that, go up here to 2D menu, go right down here to recalculate parts layout, and then here with manual selected, you can adjust the different values here. You can either adjust it based purely on scale, so if you want to make it scale it up or down, and that will readjust all the measurements for you, or if you just simply change one of the measurements, so if I made it a lot larger, you'll notice it automatically resizes the width and depth according to that. Alright, now the only limitation to this program is that none of these should be above 2000 or 2 meters. Alright, now I'm actually not scaling up on mine. I'm happy with the size it was, so I'm just going to cancel that. Now what you'll find is if you have made changes to the scale or the paper size, you may need to actually re-evaluate how these items look on the page, because the actual parts will either shrink to be smaller or get larger depending on your scaling and your paper size. So what I'll do is we'll just make a basic change just so you can just see an example. So what we'll do is I'm just going to make this smaller, and you'll notice that everything here has changed. Now if you want to actually work these parts in to make them fit on the paper better, you'll notice while it is into complete sheets, it's not the best use of the paper. Okay, so what you can do, simply click on a part, just drag it. You can actually drag them around to make them suit. You can right click and select rotate. If it doesn't fit, all you do is select a point on the item, select another point, and then drag it. You can rotate any part there. Alright, now that'll allow you to readjust it to fit on the paper the way you want. You can also scale it up larger as well. Now some parts, like this part here, when we were working on it before, it was too large for a single page. So that's fine if some parts go over the page, because it'll just allow you to actually join them up later. Alright, I normally try to work with parts that don't span between pages, because you can get slight distortions in some lines. But in the example of this one here, it's only a small amount it goes over, so it's not that much of an issue to work with. Alright, now what you'll notice as well is that whenever you click on a part, it will actually highlight on the model where that part's located. So if you're building away, if you're building the model, you can't find the next piece, you can either look at the shape that you're holding in your hand and click on the part on your file, or the other option you have is if you right click here, you can go check corresponding face, select a part, and it will highlight it here for you. Now you'll see the red line coming up. That there, then it highlights the edge that that part connects to. So you can actually see how that model lays out. Right. So while you're building, it is very helpful to have this open for reference to allow you to get it done quicker. All right, so once you've actually made all the changes and things you want, all you need to do then is just go to File, Print, and print it out of your printer. Now you can print this on normal paper. I choose not to do that because the paper is not thick enough. You'll find that it distorts, it wrinkles, it creases too easily, and doesn't actually hold the structure over time. So I normally use a heavier paper or a light cardstock. In Australia, we actually measure it in GSM, and normal paper is 80 GSM. I normally print on a 200 to a 220 GSM card. That will run through most normal printers, most inkjet printers, and and laserjet printers with no problems. Okay, so once you've got it all printed out, then we get to start cutting it all out and folding it for assembly. So once you've actually printed out the PEP file for the direwolf, you get pages similar to this. This is just the first page. Notice all the parts are laid out on here, on that there. Now all you need to do now is cut them out. Just cut the very outer edge all the way around. You can either use a knife, like an X-Acto knife or a Stanley knife, or you can just use scissors to cut it out. Once it's all cut out, you'll be left with pieces like this here. Now all you do is on each piece, you'll see there's actually dots, different lines and things. You'll have dotted lines and you'll have dashed lines. For example, dotted lines here, dashed lines here and here. Alright, now these represent your mountain and your valley folds. Now the easy way to do it is mountain folds are always your dotted lines. They always fold pretty much down, creating a point like a mountain peak. Alright? Your valley folds fold the other way, they fold up, creating a valley. That's why they're called mountain and valley folds. So all you do is just take your ruler, line them up. Just fold them, see that there is a mountain fold, you fold it down. Next one is a valley fold, so it folds up. So all you do, just lay your ruler across the line. Try to crease it with your finger all the way along. Now it doesn't matter if they unfold a bit, because sometimes you need to go to an extreme angle when building. Like sometimes the leading needs to be folded all the way over to join onto another part. Sometimes it just needs a slight bend to it. Okay, so as long as you've actually put a crease in the paper, you'll be able to make it work. Okay, now it's very simple to do. I normally like to just dig through, find a couple of parts that join together to start with, do all the folds on them, and work them out. Now, for example, for this one here with the direwolf, because it actually has a back plate on the end of it, and it's a completely enclosed model, the best place to start is actually at the nose, which will be the smallest tip towards the front. Now, the reason we're going to start with that is that will be one of the hardest parts to add on at the end. So if we start from that point and work our way back, you'll probably find it be very simple. All right. Now that's just how one piece is folded. This isn't for the nose, of course. This is just another piece I grabbed. And this is, of course, the corresponding part that joins. Now to find which parts join, you'll see numbers. Like here, you've got 164, corresponds with 164. You line them up and glue them together. Okay. Now, best when you're lining them up, to try to actually line the numbers up as well, all the way along. So if you get the numbers lined up, you'll actually get a more crisper edge, and the whole model will look a lot better. Now, the piece you want to look for to start with looks like this. This is the nose. Okay. So it's all just mountain folds. So I'm just going to fold them all real quick, and it just joins onto itself to sort of create like almost like a very sort of flat-sided kind of cone shape, almost like a very irregular pyramid. All right, so just do all the folds on this real quick. Doesn't take long to work through. Now, building a PEP file like this, I do recommend you take your time with it. Okay, it can be a little bit labor-intensive sometimes, especially with waiting for glue to dry and things. Now, this piece here has 171 with a tab. So all you do is put glue on the tab, fold it underneath, line it up as best you can, and just wait for the glue to dry. Now, some people use like tape to hold it in place. Other people use different types of glue. I prefer to use super glue for mine. I do that because the cardstock is quite porous and it actually absorbs the glue. So in absorbing the super glue, it actually makes it incredibly rigid along the joins. And in doing so, it gives you a lot stiffer model at the end. All right, so use a little bit of glue along there. Line it up. Remember, try to keep the numbers lined up as best you can. Just hold it there. It only really takes a few seconds for it to actually bond. And then you can just let go. Just going to hold it a bit longer just to guarantee a good tight joint. And then let go. And that's your first part. That's your starting point. Now you do notice there's a bit of discoloration to the card. That happens because I'm using super glue. All right, that's just it being absorbed in. Okay, that's also one of the reasons I won't use colored card. Because colored card, you'll find that if you're joining two different colors, depending on what type of glues or other adhesive you use to put it together, you can find the actual colors will blur together and you won't get a nice edge. Being that it's pretty much all made up of flat sections, it pretty much looks like a paint by numbers by the time you're done. So pretty simple to just paint it when you're finished. Okay, all right. So what I'll do is I'll make some more progress on this. We'll come back and we'll show you how it goes. I've been working on this one now for about half an hour to 3/4 of an hour. Now the shape is starting to form. This is the nose we started with. You can see here, running back down the snout, got the eyes, and we're working towards the back of the head now. Okay, so I'm just going to keep working on this for a little bit, and we'll see how much more progress we can make. Now you see how you've got all the different numbers on here, the sort of hard lines, where the glues come through. That's one of the main reasons I don't like using colored card. I'd rather paint it, because otherwise this just looks tacky at the end. All right, so we'll keep working. Just a quick update on the direwolf. Just been working on this now. All up, this has probably been about 3 to 3.5 hours worth of work. Now it's almost complete, and you'll notice that it's still needing the teeth in here, which I'm still building, and I haven't put the last panel on the back yet. Now I haven't done that for a couple of reasons. The first one is I haven't quite decided yet if I want to actually fill this with foam or anything to make it a little bit more rigid and more solid, and I'm getting a little bit of warping here. So I may decide to glue some more stiffening material on the inside here, just to sort of keep that pushed down here to keep the outer edge more true. All right, but as you can tell, all the lines, all the numbers are visible. Quite a few glue trails. I have gotten very heavy-handed on the glue with this one, simply because I wanted it to really stick well. And some of the joints, when you're going through them, you've got to sort of bend them back further than they need to go. And sometimes it weakens or it actually pops the joint free because it hadn't bonded correctly to start with. So there is additional glue in a lot of places. Now, all in all, this is coming out fairly well. I mean, there are a few rough spots and places I wish they'd sealed a bit better, like this little hole here where the points didn't quite meet correctly and things like that. Those imperfections are completely fine. Don't worry about those in the least, because depending on how we want to finish this in the end, we can completely hide them. Okay, so next video will be it completed, ready for painting. Here we have the direwolf Pep completely finished. Now it just needs paint. Now it's got a back piece on here, all the teeth are in place. May not be focusing too well. That's it there. Okay, now I'm going to paint this up and then I'll show you the completed item. What we have here is the completed and painted direwolf head. Just got a flat back ready to be mounted on the wall, ordered to a baseboard. That's it all there, done that way. Just a very, very basic paint job on it. Doesn't need to be massively detailed because it's just a decoration for the background. And because the whole thing's made of card, it's ultra lightweight.